Alright, so today in this video, I want to talk about the best 112 comic book Batman action figure you're ever going to see in your entire life. My Marvel Legends custom Batman. No, this is not clickbait. This really is a Marvel Legends figure. It's just got some layers to it. You gotta find it. Now, this is still a work in progress, and that's halfway the reason why I wanted to make this video. So hopefully some more professional customizer homies of mine might see this video, give me a few tips and tricks, or maybe I should just sacrifice it just to make it a more solid figure. We'll see throughout the progress of this video. Today we're going to be looking at the process of how I made this, talk about some comparisons, and show you guys a breakdown of the articulation on this guy. Like I said, this is still a work in progress, so please don't judge too harshly. I just want you guys to simply look at how crispy clean this thing came out. Oh my goodness. It's still a bit of a mess to handle. You know, any custom is a bit of a mess to handle. Mainly the gauntlets in the boots are still kind of wonky. We'll check that out in the articulation segment. So first of all, we're gonna be talking about what you need to make this bad boy happen. Of course, you're gonna need this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and show you that right now. Of course, you're gonna need this big ass gold label McFarlane. Very risky. And then you're gonna need Marvel's Vulcan. Now, if anybody is ballsy enough to actually try this custom, please, I would love to see it. You actually got what it takes to commit to this custom right here. You will need a Vulcan buck. Simple as that. It's really not too hard. Really, all you need is a Vulcan buck. Go up on GPS lot, hit your boy up, say, hey, I need that light gray. I don't know if this is still in stock. When I went to go make this, I had to hit him up personally and ask him for a light gray. But luckily, you know, GPS lot, they always come through. I don't do much of the 112 style. I'm of course a 112 collector. I don't collect Mezco, but this is a Mezco 1 style custom. Just a spark of inspiration hit me one day. I really like the look of the year 2 Batman, but the thing is a major disappointment. It's a terrible figure. Articulation sucks. It's way too tall. Luckily, I didn't have any QC issues. I know a lot of people did, but I still scrapped it. Still decided to make this thing because I just wasn't happy with it, and I knew that I had this guy coming. We'll get into the size comparisons later, but I just needed something that was gonna fit to the standard of this guy and look and move as nicely as the PECKS. And another huge reason why I wanted to make this video is because they just announced the PECKS Nightfall Batman, I believe it was. And you know what? I love this Batman 10 times more. I don't think I'll ever need to buy that Nightfall Batman or that Bane. Honestly, I like the McFarlane Bane, but that's a different combo. I don't think I'll ever need to buy another Batman figure again. Look at this thing. I mean, as the progression of action figures continues, we're gonna be getting more seamless. We're gonna be getting better articulation. We're gonna be getting that stuff through the years, and you know that's kind of how it goes. You buy the new out with the old. For this, I don't think I'm gonna need to buy another one. Anyways, I know y'all want to get in here. Y'all want to see me mess with this thing, so I'm gonna try to get in here and get y'all a better look real quick. We're gonna take a closer look at some of the details. Now this guy, like I said, was a McFarlane before, and what I did to make this happen was I pretty much took these things and just cut off from his forearm on both sides. cut off both forearms. I went down here, cut the boots off as well. And that's really all the modding. Whoa, I just missed a huge part. So on the McFarlane Batman has like kind of a swoop of a neck, like a circle of a neck peg. So on the Vulcan buck, you literally have to drill the whole thing. You have to Dremel the whole thing all the way down to where that circle part in there will fit in there. And I had to create a whole new peg to go in there with like a screw and sculpt. I don't know if I'll be able to show you guys that process on here because this cowl is super glued on. I don't want to mess with that, but so you have to Dremel out a whole pit pretty much here to where that can move around freely. But other than that, that's all the modding I did to this. I created little pegs on the wrists. I believe there's already pegs down here. I created pegs for the wrist, and that's all the modding I needed to do when it came to the Vulcan. But now when it came to the year 2 Batman, this fella back here, honestly didn't take too much work. All I did was take the head, take the boots off, and honestly the boots were a huge pain to get off. They're like super duper gorilla glued, like freaking factory glue in there. They were terrible to get off, but I had to just directly cut off the gloves. And the only sculpting I did on this entire project was I sculpted over the peg holes and made the gloves flush. And that's the only bit of sculpting I had to do on this entire project. And then I also had to Dremel the logo on the chest. That's the actual logo from the original Batman, the year 2 Batman from McFarlane. I took the emblem off the chest and then Dremeled it down as thinly as I could. Also, I modded the ankles. Let me take a look down here at the ankles real quick. So this is another huge problem that I had with this McFarlane, is that for some reason he had ratcheted ankle joints. So I popped those things open. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on this one day. I popped the things open, and the actual like ratchets in there that were clicking it to where you could only move it at like 3 different points. I went in there, popped the thing open, Dremeled down the actual ratchets in there, and now look, butter moves just like an import. I also have forgot to mention that I took the trunks off of that McFarlane year 2 Batman. There's like a weird peg in the back of the trunks and you gotta file down that peg, but other than that you can just slip these little trunks back over his legs and he wears them just like little tighty whities. Other than that, it's really as simple as getting the GPS lock thing, slipping that over the body, the Marvel Legends Vulcan buck that I had pre-Dremeled, sanded. I painted the Vulcan buck black just in case anything would bleed through the gray suit. One major downfall I forgot to mention, the only thing that I had to sacrifice during the process of making this was the double jointed elbows. With the gauntlets, it wasn't going to go up 90 anyways. Wasn't going to be able to use that double joint anyways with those gauntlets over top. I think it would made the arms a little too long if I would have tried to manage it. So I just had to sacrifice the double jointed elbows, but other than that, it remains all the same. We'll take a look real quick at that elbow joint. Alright, now we're going to get into the articulation segment where I want to show y'all the benefits of that Marvel Legends Vulcan buck. Now, I did the peg trim on the Vulcan to where this guy gets the full range. He gets all the way up there. Yeah. He also keeps his bicep swivel. He also has a very deep ab crunch. Now I'm being very careful with this guy because he's janky. He's still janky. He's gonna fall apart. He's gonna fall apart, and it's very hot in this room right now, so he's loose. He's got, oh man, try to be careful with this. He can kick all the way up there. Oh yeah, that looks nice. He has his thigh swivel here. He has, he has double jointed knees still. You can see that. Now, thing with the cloth goods, you have to be careful when you put those knees back. Now, this is where the work in progress still comes in. Oh my fuck, this thing is falling apart on me. This is where the work in progress comes in. You see the gauntlets are still barely on there. I don't want to sacrifice the swivel on the boots and the gloves, so I'm afraid to super glue them on, but I'm not quite sure how to make a peg for them. So at the moment, they're just kind of barely hanging on. So I'm kind of at a crossroads whether I should decide if I should just glue the gauntlets and boots down. I'm not sure if that's what regular 112 customizers do, or if I should somehow find a way to make it sturdy with the swivel. Either way, once it's posed up, it looks beautiful. I don't have nothing to worry about, but when it comes to making a solid action figure, you want to be able to pose around with it without it falling apart in your hands. And it's a dilemma right now that I'm dealing with. I'm thinking maybe I should just use some extra strength glue and just seal those things down, sacrifice the swivels. At the end of the day, it's still gonna be a great figure. It's still gonna have butterfly joints. It's still gonna have deep ab crunch. It's still gonna have double jointed knees. That's all you really need. Good thigh motion, good ab crunch to get those. That's all I think I really need. So we're gonna move on and we're gonna get into an articulation segment. Now, this is where I had the main problem with the McFarlane one. It was just ridiculously out of scale. Alright, now with this Vulcan buck, I managed to shave some inches off, but not enough. And this is where I still think I'm gonna need to work on this guy a little bit. I'm gonna need to have to shave him down a little bit to match all my other Batman stuff that I've got. Now that McFarlane is coming out with a lot of stuff, I don't collect McFarlane, but sometimes he releases villains that I don't have. But majority of my Batman stuff is villains that have already been released and Bat Family stuff that's already been released. So I'm trying to mash and mend with the stuff that I've already got. So I still think I'm gonna have to take at least a centimeter off of this guy somehow. I'm gonna have to get in there. That's why I haven't glued everything down yet. I'm gonna have to try to get in there. But first off, we got this Robin right here. Now, I've had this Robin since a kid. I still think to this day that there's not a better sculpted Robin. Now, it is pitiful. It is straight pitiful that this is like a 25-year-old plus action figure, and it has got a dedicated, better sculpt than a modern action figure from the quote-unquote highest grossing toy company in the world. It's disgusting. I cannot believe a 25-year-old figure is outbeating company. Of course, the articulation's not here, but the sculpt on this Robin cloth goods cape, it's disgusting what these companies are doing nowadays. It's so far in the future, you'd think that our technology would be so much more advanced. Wow, we got better articulation. That's not what it's about. It's about figure that looks good and mending the articulation. That's what an action. Never mind. Okay. So here he is compared to a Robin. Here he is compared to Nightwing. Now, still a little tall. I know that Batman should be taller than Nightwing, but not that much taller. So, still gonna have to trim him down a little bit. But in my main Batcave display, I'm gonna have him sitting in his chair. Batman's gonna be sitting in his chair anyways. So him being a little bit too tall is not gonna affect things for me personally. But him being too tall is going to. And he's still a little bit too tall right now. And now here he is, size comparison to a Alfred figure. Which these old Mattel figures were actually scaled a bit larger. They're like maybe about a little bit taller than an old Marvel Legends figure. So I think the scale on this Alfred works really well. Now, of course, this Alfred is the shit. It has about 100 accessories with it. If I can find it, here it is. This Alfred has 3 different Alfred heads. Let's speak about how many Alfred heads this thing got. So Alfred heads. He's got about 3 different Alfred heads, including the one he's got Batman mask, cup, and a little serving dish. Come on, Mattel was going out with a bang with the DC's license, wasn't this? This is like the last wave. And that Build-A-Figure Killer Croc is crazy. So yeah, I think these two work together quite nicely. I've actually never put these two together yet. It's the first time I'm seeing this comparison. Alright, next we have Batman up against my custom Jason Todd figure. We have Batman up against my Batwoman figure. Stand up, please. Stand up, please. Now, most of my Bat family is actually still in Washington State at the moment. Practically all of my villains are still there. My Batgirl, my Cassandra Cain. Pretty much most of my Batman variants. All of my other stuff is at the moment put in storage in Washington State. But for now, this is a good comparison on these people. I have one last comparison. And this guy, I'm trying to get him. But I do still have one important villain that I need to show beside Batman. The most important villain. We have the McFarlane Joker. Now, I'm not sure what wave this Joker is, but this is the only Joker I have. I have the Icons Joker as well, but he's in Washington State as well. So this is the only one I have for comparison, but I know when this came out, a lot of people didn't quite like this Joker. I think it's a nice looking Joker, man. I think it's the most classic looking Joker that we've gotten from McFarlane so far. And I think it goes really good next to this 112 style Marvel Legends Batman custom. I'd say still the only major downfalls I have with this thing is the height. Other than that, I think it's pretty darn good. On the camera, they say the camera adds 10 pounds now. I can't tell if it's the cloth goods that's making him look a little tubby when you look at him on camera. But in person, he doesn't look tubby at all. It looks like he's kind of authentic, man. You can kind of still see the muscle texture popping through. But at the same time, it's not super muscular, like ridiculousness sculpt on some modern day stuff. I know that's how it's depicted in comic books, but It doesn't quite give him a pajama feel. Now, I can see the Migos argument when it comes to Mezcos. If you don't have this guy posed up, it kind of looks like a Migo. And I don't know if there's anything that I could do about that. I never grew up around Migos. I don't know nothing about that, but I can see the Migo argument when you look at him when he's not posed up. But when he is posed up, this is the best looking Batman figure I've ever seen in my life. Now, this is me personally. I don't know about you. I don't know what your opinions are. Maybe you don't like that Batman Year 2 head sculpt from McFarlane. Me personally, I think that's the best looking Batman head sculpt we've gotten ever. Mafex looks a little too anime-ish for my taste. There are a few good ones out there, don't get me wrong, but this is my favorite one so far. This McFarlane Year 2 head sculpt. So I wanted to take that up to the next level. McFarlane, if you're seeing this, which I hope you do, this is what your product could come out looking like if you just listen to the fans. Ooh, brings up another huge argument to the main thing I had, the main issue I had with this McFarlane Batman. When I first got it, bro, Wave 1 was super tall. They got 100 complaints. Somehow, with this Year 2 Batman, it was even taller than the Wave 1. Like, Todd, are you listening at all? I don't understand. I know you just want to do your own thing, but are you listening? After people made so many complaints about Wave 1 being too out of scale, you make this Batman even huger than all the other Batmans. I just don't get it, man. This was literally the best Batman still to this day when it comes to design-wise, best looking Batman that he's dropped so far. And he dropped the ball. Anyways, only other thing I would change about this was trying to make it a wired cape. But in order to do the wired cape thing, I don't want to sacrifice this expensive Year 2 cape. And I like the way this Year 2 cape drapes. So I might try to find somebody that can make a wired cape for this, but the blues were like the most difficult thing to try to match. I had to go through so many different layers of trying to match the blues to get the sculpting parts where I did on the gloves to match the blue of the rest of the outfit. I think it turned out good, but to find the exact cloth to make a wired cape for this guy, I don't know. It's gonna be real tough, and I like the way it drapes naturally. Like I said, I want him in like a Batcave display ultimately. That's where he's gonna live the rest of his life when I get around to making that, and a house to put that in. He's gonna live in that Batcave diorama, sitting in a chair across from the Bat computer. So the scale isn't gonna be too terrible. As long as he's sitting in the chair, all the other characters standing around, the scale won't be too much of an issue, but he still is a little large. But the wired cape would really get in the way of me trying to sit him in a like computer chair type thing. So for now, I'm leaving it non-wired cape. I like the way it drapes. It's kind of difficult to pose around the non-wired cape, but once you get it in that spot, it works wonders. I really appreciate y'all sticking around and watching this video if you made it this far in. If you are a customizer friend that might have some tips and tricks for this guy here, I would really love to figure out a way I could keep the swivels on the boots and the gloves, but make it sturdy. And I've tried a lot of different ways with this, the whole screw magnet tricks, everything like that. It's just still not that sturdy, and I'm debating about if I should just factory glue it, just seal it for the rest of his life. I don't want to sacrifice that because I really like that extra articulation, and I really like the spikes on the gloves to be move aroundable. That's the main thing. The boots I can do without, honestly. I could super glue them, but I want the gloves to be on a swivel, because sometimes Batman spikes aren't in the right spot, and if you like permanently fix them, that limits a lot. But yeah, like I said earlier, all you need for this recipe is a Vulcan Marvel Legends book, a lot of dremeling. You're gonna need to dremel out that entire neck, cut off the gloves and the boots of the Vulcan, and then you're gonna need to remove the boots and the gloves from the year 2, as well as the emblem from the Bat logo, the trunks, the head sculpt, and the cape. And then you need to hit up GPS lot for that light gray bodysuit. Put it all together, a little bit of sculpting, a little bit of paint later. You got yourself this custom Marvel Legends 112 Todd McFarlane Batman. That's a fucking tongue twister right there. But if you can manage to say that 10 times fast, then you can manage to make this. Custom Marvel Legends, Todd McFarlane, let's go stop. I can't even do it. I don't even do it. You can do it. I didn't even do it, so that proves that you can do it. Anyways, I believe that's a wrap to the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope this video was informative for y'all. I hope it inspired you to maybe execute some of those ideas you don't know if you can in your head quite yet. You just got an idea. Maybe this inspired you to just jump upon that. Maybe it's inspired you to get that project in your head going. Anyways, do good, be good, eat your fruits and vegetables, stay hydrated. Whoop whoop.